Okay, this is the garage northeast exterior wall. And the meters on this wall, it should be sealed on 3 sides, the tops and the sides, to help prevent moisture infiltration into the wall. A solar energy system has been added to this home, so this is beyond the scope of this inspection. This is beyond the scope of this inspection. Power comes below grade. Grounding rod, how about that? Properly buried. Nice example. I don't see that very often to be so plain and easy to understand. It's kudos to that. Now, my understanding is that the solar energy system, conveys with the house. Then my client's going to continue some kind of a contract or start a new contract or do something, but my client's going to keep that, which I'm kind of envious of. But if it were and this is what I'm recommending that my client do, is before you enter into a contract with this company, have the company come out and inspect this and improve it to make sure there hasn't been any changes or modifications, to make sure there hasn't been any recalls, to make sure that there hasn't, to make sure that you're getting what you think you're getting and it's going to be as reliable as you think it's going to be. And that's important. Solar energy is awesome. Especially when it works. Inside the garage east interior wall, this is where the electric service panel, the original, and the load center is. Alright? That's what we call it. Breaker box, electric service panel, call it what you will. This is the load center. It's inside the garage northeast corner. This is the cover panel for it. We've got the solar warning notices, but what we don't have is any labeling. I'm not seeing any labeling here. A little handwritten. Handwriting doesn't count. So this panel has not been properly labeled. It just hasn't. Let's see what else we can come up with real quick here. I can do that. What are you, 40 and 30 and 50 and 30 and I'm going to imagine, because it's not labeled, that this is for the air conditioning system and that it's properly fused. Other than that, there's a slight possibility it could be underfused. Like that, but it's not labeled. We don't know. The gap should not be more than 1/8 of an inch around the panel. This compromises the fire blocking. Alright. This is where L1 and L2 come in. And then the neutral. Alright, they come in through these large knockouts. See these little ones? Those are for the wires. Not you just knock out one and bring all the cables through there. It's called bundling. And usually I say, you know what, you see that a lot. It's not that big of a deal. But that's kind of an extreme example of bundling. I'm just saying. That's I'm gonna have to take a picture of that. Yeah, I am. And then when the main neutral comes in, right here, this main neutral, it's supposed to be wrapped with white tape so that you know that it's a main neutral. And if you don't know that it's the main neutral, you don't belong in this box. I get it. You don't belong in this cabinet. But it's supposed to be wrapped with white tape. And then L1 and L2 here, they're supposed to have protective covers on them. Alright? Then this cabinet was screwed into place with drywall screws, no less. Alright? Nails have much more shear strength. The screws they're faster and they're tighter, I get that, but they break and they pop. If this structure was to experience a tornado, for example, we have them out here. Now, if a tornado blows up your garage, you already have a bad day, I get that. But if this cabinet had been nailed in place rather than screwed in place, it would at least have a better chance. It would have a better chance of staying in place. And coming on along down here, white hots. That's supposed to be wrapped with black tape. If you don't know that's a hot, you don't belong in this cabinet, right? But it's still supposed to be wrapped with black tape. We don't have black tape on there. And then coming over here, look at all that room on that bus. And yet, they chose to double a ground with a neutral and a ground with a neutral. You can double lug a ground. But you shouldn't double lug a neutral. And when that neutral was added there, that's a double lug. So we got double lug neutrals all the way up the side of this panel. And then inside of here, see that? Is that burnt? Can you make a fire out of that? I don't know. Ask a Boy Scout. You only get 2 matches. You gotta make it go. We got combustible wood chips inside the cabinet. That's not a lot of, I can't understand. I can't fathom a reason why that should be in there. So what we learned? We learned that we got combustible wood shavings in the panel, and that our gap is larger than 1/8 of an inch, and that our cabinet box was screwed into place. We learned that we've got double lug neutrals, and we've got white hots that have not been wrapped with black tape. Our neutral has not been wrapped with white tape. We don't have protective covers. We learned that we have bundling coming into the top of the cabinet, and we also learned that our cabinet cover, our dead front service cover, is not properly labeled. And it's not properly labeled. That's what we learned today. We learned some things. We're learners.